In today's video, we're going to be talking about 3 pictures that have disturbing backstories to them. But before we begin, if you're a fan of true crime stories delivered in story format, then I highly suggest you subscribe. But with all that being said, let's begin. At 3:10 p.m, a car exploded in Omagh, killing 29 people and 2 unborn children, along with injuring 220 people. 21 of them died on the spot, while the other 8 died going to the hospital. Many of the survivors were children that somehow survived. Initially, no group claimed to do this horrific behaviour, but suspicion fell on a group of Irish people called the Real Irish. The bomb was meticulously placed in the market where a lot of people were going to be. The exact street was called Dublin Road, in the centre of Omagh. Like many market towns, Omagh was full because it was a Saturday. Kids were getting ready to go back to school and they needed school clothes. Not to mention other people from other villages come to Omagh to get their supplies. Out of all those people, there was a husband and a daughter that went down to Omagh to get their school clothes. They would get up in the morning and decide that they need school clothes for the upcoming term, but little did they know their lives would end. The car bomb was parked in the middle of the market where the daughter and dad were hanging around, before suddenly the car would blow up, ultimately ending their lives. Unfortunately, no one ever got prosecuted. Until this day, no one has. Here's a picture of the father and daughter taken before moments after the bomb would explode. On Tuesday 23rd September 2014, a man named Dosh Patel was getting ready to go on a hike trip with his 4 friends. The area that the 4 friends were going to hike on is a wooded area in New Jersey. Dosh wasn't a stranger to hiking though. He was a very experienced hiker, so what happened to him would leave the world shocked. The friends got to the hiking trail and everything went normal. They were doing their routine work and everything seemed to be perfect and just like another day, until they heard footsteps circling around them. Now you gotta remember, this is a woody area, so you couldn't see too far. But when they got to a mini clearing, what they saw was truly terrifying. They saw coming out from the shadows a big 300+ pound black bear. Of course the group was scared and didn't know what to do, so they started making clapping noises and trying to just scare the bear away altogether, but unfortunately that never worked. The bear continued to circle the group around until one of the friends decided to throw a rock, which actually worked and distracted the bear. Once the bear was distracted, the group made a run for it. As they're running and running with their heart pulsing, they finally make it to the end of the forest, where they'd make a startling discovery. As they all look around, they realise that one of them is missing, and that missing friend was Dosh. As reality began to sink in and the stomachs began to turn, that maybe the bear got Dosh. So of course, quickly as they can, they rang the police up, and the police came really quickly, but ultimately they would go and find Dosh's body along with the bear in that exact same clearing. But what was strange is that the bear wasn't leaving Dosh alone. Black bears are the most aggressive bears and they would eat anything, so the fact that the bear hadn't eaten Dosh yet was very strange and was just circling Dosh's body. Police did everything that they could to get the bear away from Dosh, but ultimately they couldn't do anything. So the police ultimately made a decision to put the bear down and finally get Dosh's body. Here is the photo of the bear seconds before the bear noticed the group. On July 16, 2011, Tyler Hadley was sick of his life, especially his parents. To give you more context about Tyler, he was never a good student or a good human to be in general. He was never stuck into class and was never doing the right thing. To put it bluntly, he was not the kid that you want to raise. As they would, Tyler's parents were sick of his behaviour, and they wanted Tyler to go into the army so he'd get his life into order. But obviously Tyler would disagree and there would be a massive argument between the 2 parties. Now fast forward a couple of days, Tyler was still in trouble with his parents, but he really wanted to throw a house party. And he was explaining his feelings to his best friend Michael Mandel, which for the majority Michael knew that this was never going to happen no matter what. But Tyler would ensure that he would figure something out. A couple of days later, Tyler would message on his Facebook wall that there's a house party at his house and to hit him up if you want to come, which one of his friends said, "What about your parents? What if they come home?" Which then Tyler replied to saying, "They won't, trust me." Now fast forward to when the party began. Everyone was destroying the house and Tyler did not seem to care. So obviously Michael turned to him and said, "Tyler, aren't you concerned about your house? What about your parents? What if they find out?" And what Tyler would tell Michael would change Michael's life forever. We're going to skip some time backwards now, and Michael would always recall on wanting to kill his parents for minor reasons. For example, he came home drunk while driving and his parents took his phone off him, which obviously infuriated Michael. So what Tyler told Michael, he didn't really believe it at first. Tyler whispered to Michael and told him that "I've killed my parents." Now of course Michael's a bit nonchalant again because it was always a common theme, but there was a part of Michael that actually believed it. Tyler also specified that he left their bodies in the master bedroom where they slept. Now this is where Michael began to get more worried. As Tyler left Michael, Michael couldn't handle it. He went upstairs to find out if this was the truth or not. As he gets to the master bedroom, he opens the door, and there was 2 lifeless bodies. Both of Tyler's parents were dead. At this point, Michael was practically throwing up and needed to tell the police. So what he did was take one final picture with Tyler, before ultimately calling the police on his best friend. Here is the picture. Tyler would go into horrific detail when investigated, and told the police that he killed his parents with a hammer when they were sleeping, and even told them as he was viciously beating them, they would both scream why, before ultimately they would die. Tyler would get arrested 3 years later and ultimately would get a life sentence. So that'll be it for these 3 stories. If you're a fan of these stories, then I would highly suggest you subscribe, as I try to upload once or twice a week. But with all that being said, thank you for watching, and yeah, goodbye.